A very good afternoon to you once again. Getting It Right is on the air with you. Dr. Ramsarran here, host of the program, and want to first of all thank all of the hundreds and tens of thousands even of kite flyers for flying their kites safely and responsibly over the past Easter holiday weekend. At the same time, I'd like to congratulate all of those who, in the wider communities right across the country, secure themselves a gift kite from the PPPC. It was so interesting to see the kids being given a little bit of joy by the leader of the opposition and his team. And you know, the team which was sharing out these free kites were very young and had a lot of young ladies in it, a lot of energetic young men, youth. The emphasis was on youth and the youth from the PPPC, and of course including its supporters and well-wishers spread out right across the country to bring some cheer and kite flying joy to so many hundreds and tens of thousands of kite flyers and onlookers. So congratulations, and then again, let's continue to do as we did during kite flying. You're on the road driving, walking, riding, please do so responsibly. We've had a very accident-free, as far as kites are concerned and as far as such related issues are concerned, Easter weekend. Let's carry that right on into the many months ahead. Now, as I was coming in, I was looking at one of my archive mirrors, and I was saying the theme of today's program is so well meshes with this newspaper, and this is not this week's newspaper. This is from a week before, but this is always a week late, and that I'm looking at my archives and making notes. It's just as if we're speaking about this week. In other words, the corrupt coalition is in confusion. Every week there's a report of some confusion due to the corruption and the nepotism. And at the same time, we can put it down as another week, another scandal. Another week, another scandal. We've come to learn over the past few days, especially since the Mirror newspaper has exposed it and other elements of the media, that a minister is giving her company contracts worth millions of dollars. And of course, that was now unearthed in the last week, but of course it was percolating, bubbling up for some time. That's the weekend Mirror from the 28th to 27th to 28th of April. And it says clearly, and it's named there, and so far we've had no challenge, no threats of going to court, no threats of suing. So this is how it's going. And we told you about this. Immediately after they took office following the election in 2015, corruption started. What was the first corruption? The first corruption is this. They told the school children, and you can follow it on the sheet, the information sheet that the PPPC team is sharing out, and that we will bring it up later on the screen. The first thing they told the pensioners and the school children, we got to stop giving you the $10,000 per kid that used to be done by the Ramatar government. President Ramatar was very interested in promoting education and making it accessible, not only in word, but by giving some material succor, some material support. So the corruption started from the very beginning. And I see they spell my name a bit wrong. It should be Bheri. It's inverted. It's a bit a little confusing. Bheri, Bheri. So they'll correct that. So the corruption started from the very first weeks of them being in office. They increased their salaries, but at the same time they knocked out the $10,000 for the pensioners, and they knocked out the $10,000 allowance for the school kids, which was having a very good effect as to encourage an incentive. So the corruption started, and today's program you'll see the corrupt coalition in confusion. Not only are they corrupt, but they're so confused. They don't know what to do. They don't have a plan. They're trying to copy many of the things that the PPP did, and they're bungling some of them. The latest bungling you might want to talk about is the scandal that is unfolding at our national airport, our international airport, our main airport, the Chedijagan International Airport at Timiri. And you can probably comment on that, those of you who might have been passing through there or know what's going on. This self-same contract, or one practically the same, that the PPPC had worked out in the correct way through the correct procedures for a certain number or a certain volume of work to be done, a certain amount of new gates to be created for at the airport, so as you can have access to more and more aircraft simultaneously. That has changed. What we've come to know and come to understand is that for the same volume of money, much less work is being done. What's happening? Was the contract properly renegotiated? Why is this so? How could the PPPC be getting so much more out, so much more bang for the taxpayer dollar when we made that contract and when it was about to go into that agreement before we lost government. What's really happening? Those are some of the corruption things you have to look at. And of course, we have Ms. Cathy Hughes, Minister. Right? She's very polished, very educated, very cultured, and we would have been expecting better from her, especially Cathy. Right? She seems to be a slice above the rest, but who knows? She has to check it out. Ultimately, the ministers take the buck stops to the minister. So if there's something else going on below her level, she needs to look into it and make a very firm statement. The Mirror newspaper is becoming wider and wider circulated, especially at mass gatherings, at the markets, and so on. So you get your copy, and this is a reply. The minister needs to make a quick reply why her company is being given contracts. I'm certain that she, having a company, cannot not know that her company is being given contracts. So probably one of the excuses would be that she was aloof, she had given up administrative responsibility, and somebody down the line did it. Let's see how that goes. But apparently this was another of the corrupt procurement practices, not done the correct way. So we're calling on them, and we're calling on you to recognize that this is definitely not the way to go, but it's the way that we've been going since the coalition took over, the Granger, Nagamutu, Ramjatan coalition. Okay? So on the heels of that, or almost simultaneously, we have the second headline. Granger does another reshuffle with ministers. The confusion, the people are so incompetent, patently incompetent. Like Miss Broom, she's been shifted somewhere else. And the other lady, of course, Patterson Yearwood, Broom's moved, 2 new portfolios created. In other words, not only are they having problems with the existing structures and they're having to reshuffle the jokers, like when you got a pack of jokers, well, this pack of cards that Granger is shuffling and being ably assisted by Nagamutu and Ramjatan, is just a pack of jokers and they're just shuffling them around. So they're going to move out Patterson Yearwood and Brooms, but not only that, they're going to be expanding the bureaucracy. You got 2 people at least who can't function properly, but they're going to find them sinecures somewhere else. And they're creating 2 new portfolios. Not that people are coming in, not that they have been relieved or sent off to totally different duties. They have just been shifted. It's not a case where these 2 ladies will be replaced by 2 other persons. It's that 2 new portfolios have been created. And you know what I mean? Under the Spendthrift government, the PNC government, they're going to be the big salaries and so on and so on. And they will continue with that. Again, we have another big headline that we can be discussing, all brought about by the corruption and the malpractices of this administration. Guyanese continue to feel the squeeze by increased taxation. Now, some of the things that we were warning you about during the last budget debate, I remember people like Gail Teixeira pointing it out clearly, and many of our other top leaders from the front benches, Frank Anthony, Bharat Jagdeo himself in his powerful presentation, that they're taxing us practically out of existence. They're going to fund the government and fund development or fund some of the works, not by income, not by various other financial mechanisms, but by the tried and tested PNC method, taxation. And remember, we told you that more than 200 more items are being vetted. They poke their fingers in your eye by lowering it from the PPP 16 to 14, but then they expanded it right across a range of items, including education and health. That is to say, if you buy a pencil, the cost will go up by that 14% now as compared to before the measure. So this is what the PPP teams, a lot of teams in their red t-shirts, looking so smart and very good mixture of age and youth, walking all around the places, but people from the grassroots. Those red shirt teams are coming to you now, and they're bringing this fact sheet. At the front of the sheet, we point out the track record, the dismal track record of the PNC, and at the back, I think you can see a little bit of it there, and at the back we point out the measures that your party will take when we take power following the elections, following the early elections that we're expecting. And that's another aspect of the discussion now concerning the political arena. What's the political atmosphere? What's happening with the CCJ? And what do we expect? We're going full out, we're going full force, and of course we'll have some complications that we need to address if the things go beyond April the 31st, when the list then has a status change. So this is what the flyer says, and you can probably follow me. It Since taking office, the APNU plus AFC cabal has put forward 5 budgets. They have spent $1.3 trillion. Borrowed as Guyana dollars. They borrowed further for that period, US 900 million, and increased taxes by approximately 88 billion per year. They're spending every year 1.6 billion more for food allowances. And I don't mean food allowances to the people. That is when they're having their parties, having their discussions, having their meetings at cabinet and so on. We've discovered that they have put not only they increase their salaries, not only they increase the newness of their cars and the cost of the cars that they've been giving themselves and other perks and fancy houses, $500,000 to rent one for rooms, I'm told. But they at the same time, there are certain hidden things. The boys are living it up. They're really going to be fat. Some of them will be fat and immobile by the time we kick them out of there. By the time we chase them out, remember that term, chase them out. They're supposed to be out since the 21st of December last year. But we'll see how the Guyanese people treat them when the unconstitutionality is established by that act of not demitting office immediately. And then bringing to us jumbie mathematics, that 34 is a half of 65. They should have been out since the 21st of December last year, and a people's government in place by elections. Elections should probably have been organized and held now. And that's another issue you might want to bring up. It's being trafficked or proffered in some quarters that we are being unreasonable. Now, how can you have it's almost a snap election? No, it had to be within 90 days. What's all the billions that we're spending on GCOM, Mr. Lowenfield? And, billions, and then sometimes you see that they're being used to buy the wrong things. Dozens of radios that were never used, pliers, and these things. Those are things that deserve a COI, a Commission of Inquiry. So billions were wasted, and 3 more or 4 more billion, I think, was put into that outfit, GCOM, about the same time. And where is the money? The list that was used for the GCOM ran elections at the lower level, at the regional level, Regional Democratic Council, even if it was inaccurate, that wasn't a complaint that you had dead people on it, because there's a way of managing that. So that list can be sanitized, or could have been sanitized, in the period running up to the elections that should have been held 90 days following the successful December 21st motion of no confidence moved by none other than Bara Jagdeo, leader of the opposition. So this is the wickedness and the confusion. They were totally outmaneuvered by that move, and by the good conscience of Mr. Charan Das, who said he could not take it anymore. Let's take a call. Hello.
Hi. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. Thanks for being the first call. I hope you enjoyed the Easter kite flying.
And I can't, because I have something very important to tell you.
Okay, but remember, you can call me afterward. Don't call names. We don't want to be scandalous.
No.
If it's personal.
No name.
Okay.
What I want to tell you is that I want to know what Gaiwa is doing to the pensioners. I received a water bill just a few days ago with $5,000. They give you $1,000 increase for the pension, and then now they take $5,000. What are they really doing to the pensioners?
What part is there? What part did this happen? What part?
Lenora. I live at Lenora.
Okay, I'll try to see if we can follow. But we have a heavyweight over there, Mr. Irfan Ali, and that's not far from him. I think he has meetings with the public regularly, although he's been going out massive in a massive fashion to the various locations.
I have a suggestion.
Okay.
Seeing that he is our presidential candidate, why not give the people in the Lenora area and also surrounding areas the opportunity to talk to him?
Yeah, well, that's good.
See spread. I mean, they're concerned.
Yeah, well, here, I tell you this. It's a hard job, but he has broad shoulders. He's been going over many other communities. I don't think he's left you out as yet, but he's been reaching out to the various hinterland, other rural areas, and so on. So I'm certain it's on his schedule. I'll try to see if I can prompt him to bring it forward.
I'm not speculating, but I have a strong belief that these things are the really pressure on the Indo-Guyanese population.
Well, let me tell you this.
The pensioners.
Well, let me tell you this. Well, all pensioners will suffer. And these people don't really care. They don't
I
care.
know,
They don't care. They don't care
yeah.
not only for Indians, but even the poor Afro-Guineans. This is a upper middle class black unit, black who are running the country. They after they pass the outskirts of George, they don't care about anybody else, hardly any. So it's race, yes, but at the same time, even their own traditional supporters are catching hell. Black people are getting a lot of economic problems in this country. They can't pay their mortgage. They don't have that little subsidy that some the school children used to be
But what
getting.
worries me, they give a leaflet that you pay $250 for a black drum. I'll make a black drum of water.
Mm-hmm.
Right? How me as a pensioner, 70-year-old pensioner, how me can use $5,000 water for 1 month? You just figure out it, man.
Yeah, well, I think the other arrangement previously was better. And even if when they came to power they wanted to do changes, they should have had some rhyme and reason. They should have been communicating and doing something, right? Probably getting education programs so people stop wasting water, using it more judiciously. But it was a slap in the face of pensioners by this government, this present government, when they dismantled that subsidy, water subsidy to the old age pensioners.
Exactly. But tell me something. Why do they when they go, if they do go to Parliament, why they don't raise this issue, man? I mean,
well, we're discouraging them from.
This country for so long.
Yeah, but here in the church, we are discouraging them from going to Parliament because it's illegal. And we Jagdion and his party will be looking strongly at taking measures.
Here, I understand it. They are waiting to see the outcome of the CCJ. What would be the outcome?
Yes.
Before they go to Parliament, because Governor Jagdi mentioned that.
Well, that's we have to up that. We have to up that struggle, right?
Yeah.
We have to get that done. Okay, so you brought to my attention certain things in Leonora. We're looking at the wider problem of corruption in the coalition because the corruption.
Exactly, that is the point. That is the main point. Corruption.
We were looking at the very uncaring manner in which they quickly raise their salaries by 50% and sometimes 100% almost, while taking away your old age pensioners, right? Okay, thanks for coming through and please.
Okay,
good. Okay. That's a gentleman from, yes, so we were talking about the corruption. The topic is on the screen. The numbers are there. 3 numbers, including my cell phone. You can feel free to call it. We'll patch it into the microphone system. Hello, welcome to Getting It Right.
Hi, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for calling.
I listened to you in connection with the guy that spoke with water, the pensioner.
Okay.
How many pensioners living with the family in the house? Where they do not pay no water bill, the family pay the water bill. But when we got this kind of program, you find there are 4 set of people.
No, but you've missed it.
On the phone.
That had been integrated. That plan had been explained properly, right? It's a subsidy to them, and it's only up to a certain level. If they use beyond that, it cannot be abused. They themselves will have to start paying.
But the same people that calling you, if you do carry the survey, they even using half of the water they're complaining to you about. You carry the survey, you see what we're doing wrong.
No, hold on.
Just jumping on the TV and listening.
No. This was when that program was implemented. It was very well discussed all over. If they don't use all of it, well, we good happy that they're judicious. But the stipend, the old age pension was already meager. What I thought you might have been bringing up is that other people living could be abusing it. That's why there was a ceiling. No, that's why there was a ceiling. If the pensioner thinks he or she could have got away with that, after it meet above 5,000, they got to start paying regular rates.
Well, how you will know that they're telling you the truth?
This was a social. No, you've missed it. That was a social activism done by the government to put resources into a vulnerable group, like the school children. You can have the argument. Why detect the $10,000 and they're wearing the same old uniform?
You see the school children wearing the old.
No, that's what I'm saying. But that's not the point. It is a vulnerable group, especially the rural poor, who could benefit from it. Okay, so you can have arguments against it. The point is, it was taken away and nothing given in place, except an increase in the salary of people like Brooms. Imagine Brooms probably getting more salary than you. They're living in a big fancy house, driving around in a car and so on. So it's not.
You I know that before Honorable Simone Brooms get into power, she had what she had. She had.
No. We ain't talking about that.
She had everything.
She can got that. No. She can got. But that was not at the expense of the taxpayer. Whatever she had, I'm certain she got it honestly and so on. That's good. But when they came over, immediately, if you're so comfortable, why you got it? And that wasn't the argument. They were saying that they needed to pep up their salaries because they used to be getting things big.
If you do a survey, you look at the staff from the time this government get into power. You know how much money the public servants achieve. You check it before we sit on the television and we talk and try to.
All right. Well, let come back with another. No, that's good. He's raising some good issues, but he's so misinformed that is now people quarreling about it. The money for the water was said clearly. Pensioners were the main target. If tangentially or incidentally some other people benefited, it would be marginal. But we saw that even under the PPP, the old age pension was still a bit low. Hello?
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So it's concerning the water, right? The water bill, when you pay the water bill, when the other amount one come, yeah, they will put on the one what you pay. And when you try to query them, I say you have to pay what you don't pay it.
I don't really follow. You're saying you're querying the bills.
Yes.
The general bills are old age people.
Right. When I don't pay, remember I don't pay a bill. And when the present bill comes, the one show that the previous one add on to it. And when I try to query them, I say they don't want to hear nothing. You got to pay it.
All right. Well, let me think. You know what could have happened? It might not be mischief. Probably you paid it at a period when they were preparing the new bill. You understand me? So you can query it, and if you're living in Region 3, for example, there's a strong party office there, or we'll take a look into it. I suspect that they're not trying to pressure you. It might be how the system works, right?
So if I get bill, I go into them too, and I pay in the bill.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You pay the bill, and sometimes it's gone into the next period, right? So it could be, right? So let's look at that. We need to look at that water bills, the discrepancies, right?
Yes.
Okay, you calling from which part of the country?
Diamond, I've been.
Diamond, okay. Well, we have a strong presence on the Diamond area. We have people like Neil Kumar, you got people like Hussein, and so on. So we got to take a look at it. Could you call back after the program and let's have a chat and I'll get your number and so on?
Okay.
Because if it's happening to you, it means it's happening to other people too, right?
Yeah, because it's only me and my wife live inside the house, and I don't know how my water bill raising every month.
Well, we got to look at that. Is it raising or they
raising?
But when you go to pay the bill, you pay off everything one time?
Yes, everything.
Everything one time. Okay, well, definitely we need to look at that. But you know, you can also get help from the NDC. We have a good parliamentarian, a young man, Vikram Bharat, living in that area, and he has some responsibilities there too. Okay?
I would glad to get in touch with you.
Or to call me back after, but he lives and works in that area, right?
Okay.
Okay, but I'm expecting a call back again so we get to get your number and we'll link you with the right people.
Okay.
But I'm making a note that probably the party needs to be more proactive in these irritating instances in the lives of the ordinary citizen. Okay, thank you for coming through. Yes, so the program is under the head, the corrupt coalition is in confusion, and probably we like to see how that is even costing the nation. Are the instructions coming out correctly? Are the people at the lower levels being guided? Things like that we need to discuss. Hello?
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thanks for coming through.
I am trying to make a complaint about GRA. I don't know if you are going to help, but I'm glad if you are going to help.
Okay. Well, we can help by having it ventilated, right?
All right. We pay for a revenue license, and the revenue license got misplaced. So I asked if they can give a copy to say you have to buy a new one. The revenue license is $52,000.
Okay. No, sir. You see what I'm saying? I don't want to say we tell you this. You can. Those increases, those drastic increases, came in the first budget, and then it was reinforced in the second budget by the Finance Minister, Jordan. That's what we're saying. They told you that the PPP were a bunch of fat cats taxing you. But immediately when they came in, they put on more VAT on things that you didn't used to get VAT before. They put on VAT on education. You know what education means if you buy a pencil or eraser, and of course on health. So here it is. Here it is. That's how they're milking you easily. You know, previously you might have paid a 2,000 or 3,000. I don't think it was so high to get back your license. Okay, but they have increased it.
I don't have a problem with the amount they're paying, but if you ask why you have to buy another one.
I agree with you, right? It's bad that you've lost it. They might say you're careless, but then under the previous our administration, there were not those increases. If you listen to the parliamentary debates for the period, especially several budgets, we were raising these things. It's what you call indirect taxation. They increase fees and for services. Taxes and fees and so on, they increase for those services. So when it doesn't come up as a new tax, but then you go administratively, they've actually increased the cost of your living. Okay, and why they're doing that? We formally think it's because they need money to have a good time. They need money to have a good time. So we will look into this one.
Based on see what's coming. That is unfair. That is really unfair. To buy a new revenue license, just lost this one.
How much did you have to pay for the first original one?
It got misplaced.
No, how much did you pay to uplift that?
52,000.
For the first one?
Yeah.
That got lost?
Yeah.
Okay. So they're charging you the same amount for
the same amount you have to pay.
But that's a bit ridiculous because they would have records there. They would have already done the bulk of the work, and then they should pay you a little, you know. Okay, thanks. We'll see if we can.
Yeah, please, let it be known. Let people know that they are doing this.
Okay, thank you. Well, I'm going to try to raise that with the authorities. Thank you. Hello. Could you speak up a wee little bit more? Hello. Go ahead. Got you. Wait, you know something? I was getting some difficulty with the volume. Could you start over?
Mr. Barajan, they want to remind me, like put it on the program, ready to send them a Cuba and to clean them eye and give them money, them no pay a plane ticket for them to come and they come out and tea and this and that. You did some goodness for them.
All right. But we got try to win them over. Remember, they got a lot of mischief makers among them spreading mischief. Okay? All right, hold on. Don't put me in trouble, right? Don't call name, but I let's come back to the people in power, right? Where is the scholarship program now? I went to Cuba with President Jagdeo. I was not minister as yet, and we sat with the President Fidel Castro and his team, and they worked out immediately. Listen to this. They worked out immediately that 1,000 Guyanese students would be trained specifically and more particularly as doctors. And you know why? Just follow the reason. We were building 5 hospitals: Diamond, Lenora, Southern, Maikoni, Port Morant. 5 new hospitals, and we needed people. So that was the vision. You know what happened with those people now? Those doctors. All of them have been thrown off of their contract, which we signed with them, and put on things that are less likely to see them staying in Guyana. Okay, well, but let's come back to the big social issues, the one with the training of the. And do you realize how many people of different ethnicities, some people who probably would never have even gotten further than what their level was, are now doctors? But tell me something, where are you living? What village? No. I want you to tell me the lot. Which health center, which hospital you usually visit when you need to visit? Georgetown, okay. That's why we had put other hospitals like a Diamond, and there was a nice little one I was developing at the C.C. Nicholson Hospital in Nabakalis. Hardly anybody knew about that hospital, but it can do good work. Okay, well, we got to change that back, right? You got to change that back. And then I think Guyanese are coming to recognize how much
Yeah.
they've really lost.
Tell her you to me, wish you the best.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. And here there's the next thing I want to engage you. The PPP is going for early elections. Even if that doesn't happen, listen to me, even if that doesn't happen, we're preparing for elections anyway. We're not backing off. We're in full election gear. So we need you to get a few young people who can be trained already early to be things like polling agents, counting agents, and so on and so on, okay? All right, well here, well call me after there's a number that the officer in the back room will put up just now. He put up two cards. Take the number and you can get help. There's it. You can get help from our elections office. For the past 4 or 5 months, there's a permanent election office at Freedom House, and those are the numbers coming up. Share them, call there. Okay, good then. Thanks for coming through. Hello? Hello?
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm sitting here watching your program, trying to, pick sense out of nonsense.
All right, lower your television a little bit, and they're going to go far away for us to get into some sensible talk.
hold on, please. Hello, you hear me back now?
Yeah, good. We're hearing you. There's no feedback now.
Okay, I'm trying now. How can you try to win other supporters, new supporters to your party, right? When both the EP and the AP have major flaws, we need to hear what policies, new policies will be putting forward to win new supporters.
Yeah, okay.
Who do this and who do that. And we can't even accuse this government of corruption or what this government doing. It can be back and forth.
All right, yeah, that's a good point you're making, right? What is our manifesto? Well, there's a sneak preview, right? You're right, the manifesto is being prepared and we're preparing for it as if elections are coming early. And the sheet I referred to, I hope my assistant can pull it up on the screen. What we're speaking about, it's in the front page, we got what we think was the bad things that happened, and in the back page, we have about 50 points of things we want to do. For example, immediately we say, restore the $10,000 cash grant. Is 1. 2, reinstate the subsidy to pensioners. 3, reverse VAT on essential services. 4, reopen the closed sugar estates. 5, restore zero-rated VAT on machinery and equipment. 6, reverse cost of license and permits for doing business and accessing government services. 7, and it goes on and on. So unfortunately, the red shirts might not have been able to come into your areas yet. You can uplift this from any big party activist in your area. You can uplift it from any of the Freedom Houses, or afterwards, if you call back, I can give you an indication how. This is our mini manifesto. It's there already, and we got to get it out in public.
Yeah, we need to see strong policy, man.
No, I know. So you're saying that we're not doing we're not.
Back and forth. We do this and we do the.
No. But look, we got what they did, and we got what we gonna do, and then we got the show, and then next coming out what we were doing and what is being sabotaged now.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So I know you. I don't want to get your address or so, but if you tell me what area you're in, I'll tell you if a team has been there, because we're getting good responses. But remember, all of this is voluntary work. After people finish working in the day, they give their lifetimes to the party. So we can get you this. I'll try to see if it's on the party website, okay? And or I can probably have one drop wrong by you if you're not too far out, okay? Right. Well, I like that was one of the better calls, right? It's critical of the two parties, including the PPP, just bashing each other. But what I'm saying, we don't only do that. Every night now, we have meetings, bottom house meetings, sometimes 50, 60 people, right across the country. The juggernaut approach to things. Late into the night, we're discussing, we're there with the comrades down at the bottom, right in the villages, right across the country. So many meetings are being held. Sometimes one leader having 3 and 4 meetings in the night at different locations, right? So thank you, that was good critical comment. Critical thinking, I suppose, but we don't want to say we're doing just like the PNC. We're not thrown back. We're actually using this as our speaker's points. It's the element, the backbone of our manifesto. And as I was saying, I will probably ask the operator to bring it up again. We went through 6 first points. We then saying number 6, Reverse cost of license and permits for doing business and accessing government. Pull it up to point 6 at the back. Reverse cost of license, one of the callers just called, bitterly complaining and that the cost of doing business is going up. The cost of business is going up. Yeah, so let me see, another call is coming through. Hello? Hello? Good afternoon, thank you for coming through.
Okay, I agree with Carlo who just from the here just now.
Okay.
So ease up from the other party and see exactly what the PUP is going to do.
Okay, good. Well, let's get on to that. If you get one like these, we'll try to get it to you. The back of the sheet, there's about 50 points of the major things we want to do, okay? That was thanks for coming through. That's another reasonable call. We wanted to know what is the PPP going to do. Hello? Sorry, I missed that call. Well, we have already been having bottom house meetings. We've already been having meetings at big fora, or even across the country in the hinterland and so on. And our idea is to do two things: to make the party visible, to have the leadership, and especially the new emerging leadership, not the established person that you know. And lots of young people coming through. So we've been having those meetings. Unfortunately, these two comrades who just called might not miss those meetings, or their area has not been covered as yet. Hello, welcome to Getting It Right.
Yes, Getting It Right. The very thing that the PPP is doing here right now, that is what the coalition did to win in 2015. So as the caller before said, when the PNC go in power, I'm 63 years old. I lived through all of this in this country. And this country is not going any place, my brother. When the PPP in power, then they get voted on, it's all, this back and forth business, it's already
Okay, so you're saying we need a new type of politics?
That's right.
Okay, but once you got adversarial politics, right? Look at what's happening in the PNC. The coalition is cracking up. You had Chandas actually in the coalition, they're talking. Once you got political parties, you have to tolerate very contrary views. Unfortunately, that's how democracy works, right?
But before I go, look, this thing with Chandas, look how it caused both sides to be exposed. Both sides were floating the constitution with dual citizenship.
Okay.
What do you say about that?
Okay, well, but the point is not that he shouldn't have done it. We should have been more tidy in putting people in the parliament. So, but that's a good point. But we mustn't use it to degrade the contributions Charan made, because he could have sat there quietly, and if he hadn't done this, he would still continue being a parliamentarian, and so on and so forth. We must recognize his historic bravery.
Putting the people out the job, and then as people say, you take bread out of people's mouths, and you can't give them biscuit.
Okay, thank you then for coming through.
Yeah.
There's another call. Hello? Hello? Okay, we seem to be missing it, right? So remember, you can use the cell phone too, but be brave and bold in bringing forward your different ideas, and let's see how we can come with a bigger, better manifesto. As a matter of fact, before we came up with this outline of the manifesto, these talking points, we had hundreds of meetings. We were insisting that the manifesto will not be made at Freedom House alone or at the party group level alone. We were having meetings where so-called civic and non-party people were invited. As a matter of fact, the instruction was that at the last local government elections, at least 50% of the candidates and those being elected at the NDC level must be non-party people. In other words, people from the civic and the wider community. That was the instruction, to be a bit inclusive. So and after that, after we won those elections significantly, with a significant margin, we at the same time continued the fan-out program right across the land, in the hinterland, in Linden, in New Amsterdam. As a matter of fact, I've been advised that I need to go to New Amsterdam to do some continuing meetings. And this that you're seeing before you came out of those discussions. This is an evolution of the manifesto, the plan, the contract that the PPP will have with the Guyanese people coming from the grassroots. Hello?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, my contention with the PPPC is not an economic one. Economically, you all did well transform the infrastructural landscape of Guyana. But it's the governance structure.
The governance?
The governance of this nation.
Okay.
When you have people like Kwame Mackay and them guys going and through policies in other people's face. And the police couldn't apprehend them, even though they knew.
Okay, well, we can take that as criticism. We are hoping not to call names, but at the same time, not to protect or defend Kwame, but those might have been still at the
level
of...
No, I'm just highlighting, sorry for calling names.
No, but those are the level...
That was in the public domain. That was in the public domain, so it's no problem.
Yeah, but I know that, but I don't think
so, and listen, so the same set of people are there. The magnitude of the arrogance that was displayed by your party in power, I don't think you all are ready to govern again. Even with the great economic policies that you have, great.
Okay, but okay, I know you mentioned
the police force has gone to dogs.
Okay.
You had guys who burned the genitals of a little boy and promoted them in the force. And still, you all appealed the case when the guy was given a few $1 million. These are the issues.
Okay. Well, you say we need to brush. We need to brush.
Targeted individual citizens in this nation who was positioned to your policies and what you were doing.
Well, I know there was a lot of accusation like that, but in many cases this was from the political platform. The incidents you spoke about needs to be investigated. No, let me get through.
Here in the Manifesto, I know that there is the talent within your party to deliver on the economic aspect of life.
Okay,
but
well,
that is not. You weren't rejected in the polls because of your governance or economic policies. You were rejected because of your governance structure.
No, let's talk on that. Rejected. The PPP so-called lost the elections by half a seat, 4,000 votes, and we are still contesting it. And elections contest should already have been heard. So we are saying we are being very good and civilized, but we are saying we didn't lose elections. That's what came out. Look at it, Maburuma, or region 8 rather. We won. Hold on. Region 8. No, let me get over. Region 8, we won at the Region 8. Well, both of us have to have a discussion, right? So if you're going to try to take up my time and don't bring over the PPP line, we're going to tolerate that. Let me give you an example. One of the regions, we won very handsomely at the local level, the NDC level, but we lost by one single vote at the national level. What madness is that? One single vote, and GCOM refused to have a recount. It's like if you're looking at horse racing and they come in neck and neck, you can have a replay of the tape. So that is what I'm saying. The PPP people have to stop this thing saying, well, we lost the election. We are cheated, but we've been good. That there should have been a recount in that region, and we're certain that the PPP would have won, not by one vote, but by a significant portion, and that seat would have gone to us, and then we would still be in government. Nonsense. That's a reality you have to look at. But governance, we need. It should be correct too, and in some extent, we needed to build the party structures. And part of our analysis is this: we put too much effort into the government, getting water, getting this, getting that, and we forgot not forgot, but we didn't have energies to put in the party structure. That's what we got to look at, especially the young party leaders, the young party comrades coming up. How do you become a governing party without losing your bang, your punch at the party structure level? So the PPP is not about governance. So many things we did. Look how much of the reforms we brought. There were calls for reform, constitutional reform. They were being promoted. So the governance structures of the PPP could have been weak in what regard? Because there was so much to be done, and we were training the officers while we were sailing the ship. So much. Look at the democratization. How many newspapers, how many radio stations came on, flowing, things like that. It is not to say that the PPP did not have blunders. Which party would not have blunders? Because while we were hoping to do better in government, sometimes Regent Street was burning. Do you forget those days? After even Jagan had a little reprieve, no mischief. But after that, try to celebrate the first 100 days of any win of the PPP at the presidential level. 80 of those days, the PPP spent out in fires in the business community. Mischief. And that is good as an example to show how resilient and resistant the PPP is. While they were banging us, burning the place, threatening people. Remember that? Georgetown on fire again, reminding us of the bad old days, where the PPP is able to take its licks and sometimes give back too. So we got a different breed of leader now. So governance issues we can discuss as a subtopic, probably not at not this time, but another time. Governance. How many things we've got? Look this. The manifesto that we are proposing. President Jagdeo has indicated, leader of the opposition Jagdeo has indicated that we are not going to make anything bigger than this for now until we get in all the ideas. And he sent his teams out, his red shirt teams, to engage the public right across the country. And I think that is what is spooking the coalition. They know what's going on. The special branch probably giving them the reports on how wide we are and where we are right across the country. Right now as I speak, there are things, even during the Easter, there were presentation of kites, just as that's part of it, but there were also discussions. And the PPPC is hoping to have alliances. The PPPC is an alliance, and we continue that negotiation. To such a regard, listen to this well, the leadership of the party has said that as much as 50% of our nominees or people who we put in forward for elected office must be non-PPP people, non-party people. That's a great way we're going. Inclusion, inclusivity. And look at the civic components of our government, how well they did. And they were having to do well while the PNC was burning on the streets for the first few years. Look at vaccination, the vaccination program. Right now in America, shameful, there's an outbreak of measles in mighty America, measles, because they do not have a proper centrally directed immunization program. In Guyana, when the PPPC took over, you had practically nothing, and we raised it from nothing to 16 preventable childhood diseases are now being managed. We are the best in the world, as much as 98% until these jokers took over, and now it started to slip back. We used to have as much as 96 to 98% coverage, measles, mumps, rubella, all of those diseases, even TB. Emphasis was on maternal health and child health. Because once the mommies are healthy, they will bring up healthy children. Once the children are healthy, they will be able to take that opportunity to grow the nation. So those are the achievements we were doing. And then they even start attacking that. Remember they used to come, a certain mad bunch used to come outside the ministry picketing, 3 or 4 of them, against vaccination. Now look what's happening in America, where they had big resistance. They're now running. How many of those kids will be harmed forever? Because some of the complications come out only years after. For example, mumps. We have it a mandatory, and I want to congratulate all the moms, the Guyanese moms and grandmummies who take their kids regularly at the right time to get vaccinated. Take mumps or measles. Some of those diseases, when they attack youngsters, little boys, when they grow up, they will be impotent because it also attacks the epididymis, a certain part of the testes, which will make them impotent. So those are the long term. Your party, your government brought to Guyana a massive program of the vaccination, and I'm happy to say that I was part of the leadership in getting that done under every nook and cranny. And of course the HPV vaccine. I was passing the Industry Health Center recently and I saw a cardboard notice inviting people to have the HPV vaccine, and I was so tickled. I took a picture. I was so tickled. These were the very people when in the opposition who were attacking it, who were attacking HPV vaccines. But the HPV vaccines is important, especially the one we're using is peculiar to the cancers that can be formed in young ladies in Guyana. The strain of the virus that it exists, HPV. Remember the big fight down? There used to be a certain lunatic woman coming parking up outside my ministry trying to make mischief, fighting against the HPV vaccine. Where are those people who now should be putting out criticism against that? Where are they? Babies are dying, mothers are dying in the hospital now. Where are the picketers? Where are the picketers? We had certain cases which were extreme. For example, 1 year, in a particular January, one woman died in childbirth, but she was having cerebral malaria, which is fatal anyhow. One woman, the second woman in that month, she had advanced HIV/AIDS, which would have killed her anyhow, but she was pregnant, and it's classified as a maternal death. Where are the picketers? Where are the defenders of women's rights? Those are the things we have to be using. So the PPP was governing, bringing things up to par after inheriting a poorly managed country, while at the same time having to defend. Look, Square of the Revolution. The other day they had a big circus. It cost almost, I think it's 500, a large sum of money to go and pampas it on the square. You know what they're doing? They were copying some of the things I was doing. We used to got medical camps there to make the people more aware and so on. We used to take that, you know what we were doing in the Ministry of Health under me? We were taking back the Square of the Revolution from the hooligans, from the scooter gang. You know where the scooter gang, which is burned down every now and then when the PPP was in office, burned down Regent Street and beat people? So it's coming from not only Congress Place, they gather up at the Square Revolution. So I made a personal commitment. We're going to bring goodness to the Square Revolution, not hooliganism. So those are the various things we were doing and reaching out more and more places. You go in and get more and more health. How many health centers were built by this government? Parfait harmony. Let me take a call before we get on with that. Hello?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I just want to make a point. I heard the leader of the opposition spoke about including everybody in the party. I think he's talking about African Guyanese or people who are voting for the APNU and so on, which is a good thing. But one thing I think I don't like what we're I mean, just now I'm listening to you and you're talking about hooligans and I mean.
But don't you recognize what I'm saying? No, hold on. Don't hooligans. There were hooligans who regularly after elections were encouraged to burn in Regent Street, to beat people. And if you're saying that, I call them the scooter gang, and we were resilient and we were able to get that. Let the people out there answer. They know, those people listening. Some of them might have been victims.
You were mentioning the jokers who take over the country.
Yeah,
now,
okay.
Please let me finish. I won't be long. Now I'm saying that I come from a predominantly APNU area. We are looking to change votes. So when we hear you come on the air and you talk about things like that.
No, we are going to talk. No, I can talk. No. I can talk this because it's correct. It is correct. As a matter of fact, they should have a COI. They should have a COI into the scooter gangs. You know? So we're going to want to win everybody, but we know some will never win. Look at this. Historical inaccuracies. The scooter gangs existed. The aim was to intimidate not only our supporters or traditions, to intimidate everybody. And right now, you walk with us. Go to Freedom House. Go to the Church Street office and see who's there. So we winning more. Go to Sophia. Recently, the Barbara Lawrence, the woman, what's her education minister? She was quarreling with her activists in Sophia. Look, the PPP come and take over everything. I have been going to Sophia over the past few weeks, few months, sometimes for the entire week, with our red shirts and our flyer. Not a single cost down. So the PPP intends to take Sophia, and we are going to do so much better things for the people there. We're going to improve the health center. We built one. The health center in Sophia was built with my instigation, and we've been expanding it. Now go to that health center in Beefield. Practically no medication. So we've expanded it and take the one and just a little further down in industry. We got that broken down, the PPP expanded it. As a matter of fact, we did it so well upstairs that doctors could have lived there. So we have a good track record, and at the same time, why should we not speak about the wickedness that was going on? Why should we speak about that? The scooter gangs. I see there's a fat, chubby guy who walks around now, begging. He used to be one of the infantry of the scooter gang. And they've even left him on the road now. And he's always begging. A fat, voluptuous looking fella. He should park himself up outside Congress Place for the meals he's begging for. So the violence, we're not, it doesn't mean if you want to change, we're going to accept it to come over. But the fact is it existed. And it was to intimidate particularly the PPP and anybody who wanted to come to the PPP. Hello?
No, you try to say something about the party. You cut the call. That is all you expect.
Right, so we're going to have a discussion, but at the same time, if any man like that one is going to be talking while I'm trying to come to point, okay, we ain't going to tolerate it. This is a PPP program and we want to get over our views. And the view I'm pushing is that the scooter gangs were a reality. The scooter gangs terrorize people. The scooter gangs were an instrument of Congress Place. And we're so happy that we've gone way beyond that, okay? But we've won over many people who are even saying, we're sorry what happened, we're sorry what we did. But we will not back down from the historical facts, okay? As a matter of fact, many people are still hurting, but they don't come through officially and quickly. Look when the government changed, how many people are fearful? Look when the government changed, almost 2,000 young Amerindians lost their jobs immediately. How could you tell me you are getting jobs for the young people? Look at it now, the $10,000 gone, the $10,000 subsidy that the PPP was given. How the PPP could get the money and everybody was happy? Why did you take away the contract from the Cuban-trained Guyanese doctors, the so-called Jagdio scholars? they used to get 22.5% gratuity every 6 months, which means that they didn't have these young doctors, and now they're angry because they pushed them back into the old system of having to wait when they finish their careers to get a pension, and then they can buy a car. That's what this government did. And then it's speaking about developing the middle class. And many of those young people who are now doctors would have had no opportunity to become even a medics if it was not for the scholarship program that Jagdio and Castro worked out. Now they can't have a car because they don't get a gratuity. What madness is this? And there was no consultation. Just, whop, the PPP was doing something progressive. We, the big bad APNU AFC, are going to come and take it away, and you got to go and be on contract. What madness is this? Okay, so let me take probably what's going to be the last call, and I'm encouraging you to get, first of all, your Mirror newspaper available at Michael Ford, available at the party offices, or from your vendor, your newspaper vendor, and have a peep at the fact sheet the PPP is passing around with its red shirt visitors. Hello?
Mr. Ramsarran. Now, you're talking about this government and this and that, the back and forth. Now, we had jailbreak in this government, right? We had jailbreak 2002, right? The difference is, in this time when they had jailbreak, most of the prisoners was captured, if not all. They had jailbreak in 2002. That criminals was caught, but they was killed 2 houses or houses away from Farm Minister Godrich. We had drug lord running this country, state the paying people and all these things. We don't need this back and forth.
All right, good. I'm happy you bringing up these incidents, and there are 2 sides, 3 sides to the story. But I'm not going to cut you off because this is good as long as you allow us to have a back and forth, right? We want to hear these contrary views, and our people outside know what is the truth. So I'll have to be running now. He's waving frantically. I'll get off. That's a very good approach, and we will be having the contrary opinions coming forward. And at the same time, I want basically the members and supporters, especially the supporters of the PPP, to see what bits of malinformation is passing around. Right? You had a big upheaval of violence in the country, and the PPP is being blamed for all of that. Some of these things were politically instigated, and some of them were the crime that we inherited, especially the drug aspect of it, getting out of hand. We were able to put a cap on it. And everything you did, there was continuously this criticism, attacks on Godrich, for example, probably because the man was being effective. As a matter of fact, one of the Godrich supporters once told me, you don't kill a lion or a tiger by chopping his tail, they got choppy head. So they went for Godrich because he was being effective. Probably his experience and training in the discipline forces helped him in that regard. Anyhow, today we have been running from topic to topic, but the overall issue was the corrupt coalition in confusion. Now you're saying, I want to leave you with this. Granger does another reshuffle with ministers. In other words, as I was saying, he's shuffling the jokers in the pack. The 2 people he shuffled probably should be given some little desk at Congress Place, and I'm certain he has better people. I know he has better people in his outfit, better people who are his supporters, but of course that's how politics work. It says here, Patterson, Yearwood, Brooms moved. 2 new portfolios created. In other words, the bureaucracy is expanding. More cars, more offices, more salaries for these 2 people who most likely will be at ministerial level, while not relinquishing those expenses by these other 2 who obviously were underperforming. That's why you're moving them. Patterson, Yearwood, and Brooms. So where is the change in administration? Anyhow, I'd like to thank you all for sharing your ear with me, giving me an ear, and I'd like to tell you the PPPC Red Shirt campaign, you'll see them all around, our young activists, will not stop regardless of what is the outcome of the CCG decision. We're going straight into the elections. We're going to be continuing. Join us regardless of when the elections are. The PPP will be coming to visit you in your community, or you can come and visit us at our various activities. Thank you. Have a good evening.